Welcome into First Pitch for Tuesday, May 16th. I am Drew Martin, joined by Adam Trigger, Teddy Covers, and Eric Pauly of WagerTalk in the goldsheet.com. Don't forget about Sports Memo as well, as it is Tuesday, $2 Tuesday at both Sports Memo and WagerTalk. And guys, we got Adam Trigger here. He's the $2 Tuesday handicapper at WagerTalk. Of course, it's in the name, guys. Discounted to just $2 for his top play, a 5% play. He's number one the last 365. So, Trig, it's a big night for you, man, over at the site. But we do have big game breakdown here with First Pitch, and I'm seeing the Orioles and the Angels. Interesting handicap here. What are you looking to do with the O's and the Angels?
Well, Drew, I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking to do yet, but I know it's going to involve runs being scored. So I'm just going to kind of talk this game out, break this game down, and maybe I'll leave it up to the viewer as to which way they want to go about betting this. But I do think the end result is going to be runs. So let's work back. We'll work backward here. Let's start with the bullpen. The Orioles, their bullpen is one of their redeeming qualities. They've had a top bullpen ERA all season long, but their bullpen comes in somewhat compromised here. So over the weekend, they won 4 straight games. Every single game was a 1 or 2 run game. I think they had gone on a stretch where they had played maybe 7 games that were decided by 3 runs or less. And to win 4 of those in a row, that takes a lot out of a bullpen, a lot of high leverage bullpen innings. And I wrote about that going into Sunday. I wrote that they would be in a tough spot with their bullpen. They lose to the Pirates 4-0. And then yesterday they come out and lose a game where they needed 5.2 innings from their bullpen to sort of stay in it. So their starters the last 2 days have really done them no favors because neither went particularly deep. And so the bullpen racked up a bunch of innings the past 2 days after burning through all of their high leverage relievers for an entire week prior to that. So that, is where I could see some runs on the back end. I'll flip over to the other side with the Angels. And I almost think first 5 over might be a play here because the Angels are going to move a reliever into the starting role. It's going to be Chase Silseth, who's going to make his first start of the season. And this is a guy, Drew, that I kind of feel like the Angels rushed him to the big leagues last year. He had very little time in the minors, but the Angels needed pitching, and they brought him up. Did not go particularly well. 6.59 ERA, 1.57 WHIP in 2022. He's been okay in 2023 at the big league level, but the majority of that has been, or all of that has been out of the bullpen. Extended relief against the Rangers last time out did not go well. 3.1 innings pitched, and he gave up 6 runs. And now he's going to start against an Orioles team that can hit the ball. And the biggest issue here I see, Drew, is his numbers the second and third time through the order are horrific. So much so that I think teams are hitting over 400 against Silseth the third time through the order. So, this is a move that was sort of, brought about by Jose Suarez hitting the IL for the Angels. And so it's kind of like a lack of a better option thing. I could see the Orioles getting to Silseth pretty quickly. And, on the other side, Dean Kramer, I've actually kind of, been pro Kramer of late. He's pitched well his past 2 times out, but this is a guy that tends to be hit or miss. He's got a little bit of a scoreless inning streak going right now. I'd be willing to fade that. The Angels in May have knocked the cover off the ball. This is a lineup that's been, just hitting everything. If you go back to May 1st and look at, some of their offensive outputs over the past 2 weeks. So some sort of over is going to make sense here. I don't know how you want to break that up. I mean, full game over looks good. I kind of like the first 5 over as well because I think the Orioles might be able to jump on Silseth, especially the second time through. And then you get the team total overs, which could make sense. I think first 5 team total over for the Orioles makes sense. So really, there's a bunch of different ways you can play it. Tilt it to, where your opinion is on this game. But in the end of the day here, Drew, I think there's going to be runs in this one. So I'd be willing to look over in whatever capacity you think is best.
Looking for some runs. First game up here. Big game breakdown, guys. We got best bets coming up. And a reminder, $2 Tuesday. Adam Trigger is the $2 handicapper. We got Teddy Covers up next in our 2-hole. And Teddy, I'm seeing the Mariners and Red Sox. This is an interesting handicap, man. It really is. A lot going on here. We're seeing minus 155. That's the M's as the road favorite. Over under. We're seeing double digits right now. But the Red Sox, man, I'll just throw it over to you. I'm interested in your opinion overall. Mariners and Sox today, Teddy and Fenway.
So when you talk about low-hanging fruit in MLB, the Red Sox over the total, in my mind, has been the lowest hanging fruit in all of baseball this year. And if you've been betting the Red Sox over the total every day, you cash better than 67% for the full season. There is potentially an issue tonight with Boston. This offense, this lineup has kind of cooled off a fair bit in recent weeks. You look at Boston, who got off to, let's call it an overachieving start. Many, myself included, thought the Red Sox would be contenders for last place, not first place in this division. And we're starting to see signs of that now. They've lost, 6 of their last 7 ball games. And the lineup has been held to 3 runs or less in 5 of those 7 games, including completely shut down on Sunday and completely shut down last night, just a single run in both of those ball games. So I'm not convinced I'm going to play the over in this one. I think we'll look to fade the Red Sox instead, especially with a hurler for Boston, like Nick Pivetta on the hill.
Pivetta, yeah.
Pivetta at Fenway has been rough. Last year he was rough. This year he was rough. Meanwhile, Luis Castillo, 1 start at Fenway last year, 6 innings, a 1 hit, 0 run, 10 strikeout ball. I know Castillo's last few starts haven't been as good as his first few this year, but he's still a bet on hurler with a pretty good track record against this lineup, against a team that's not hitting right now. And of course, Boston still has a better record than Seattle. That's not going to last. Mariners, even as road chalk, I think, are reasonably priced in this matchup. I don't want the home dog. And for all of my concerns about Boston's offense, Boston's lineup right now, I still don't want the under in a Red Sox game. So look at Seattle, look at the over for this one.
All right, towards the road favorite there. And yeah, Teddy, I mean, you brought up 6 of the last 7 the Red Sox dropped, and that was after winning 8 straight. So they've been hot and cold really all season, catching them in a down streak here. We got Jeff T in the chat box saying Pivetta is brutal. C. James, Taco Tuesday. Good afternoon, all. Happy Tuesday. It's also $2 Tuesday. But good stuff from the chat box. City by the Bay asking Minnesota Twins and LA Dodgers. Appreciate the tip here, City by the Bay. And shout out to you, a VIP from last night. I will tell you, yeah, I agree with you. He's chiming in here, guys, about walking the bases loaded and then losing that game. The only thing that made it worse was that was my best bet for the client. I couldn't get over that last night. It was brutal to watch having the Twins, but hey, that is betting baseball sometimes. Got to find more winners than losers. It's really sports betting in general, guys. Getting over it and getting back in here with some winners. One teed up with us for us here, Eric Pauly. Check him out goldsheet.com. And man, talk about interesting handicaps here, guys. This is a fascinating one. We got, first of all, pick 'em price with the Braves here, Eric. I'm really glad you're talking this one. 9.5 the total. And the Braves, obviously, one of the best teams in MLB, but the Rangers kind of sleeper themselves. And they got Dane Dunning. He's the hottest pitcher in baseball right now. I mean, depending how far you want to go back. So great handicap overall. Interested in your thoughts here, Eric.
Yeah, so I think you did a great job going over this game, Drew. So looking at a pick'em game between the Rangers and the Braves, this is something where, like we've talked about on the show before, we're going to be taking over 600 bets over the course of this baseball season. So if I happen to be on the wrong side of this one, obviously hate to lose one, but I got to take the Atlanta Braves at a minus 105 price. I understand that Jared Schuster, their starter, has not been great in the MLB so far. I understand how hot Dane Dunning is. I understand the Texas Rangers, especially at home, hit the crap out of the baseball, but I got to side with the better team in this scenario. It's not like, while Dunning's been great, it's not like Dunning really is one of these elite arms in baseball. And even though I did my power rankings today on GoldSheet.com, every single Thursday I go through and redo my power rankings and adjust as need be. And I have the Braves as my number 2 team. even despite that sweep against the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, they're playing another great team. I have the Rangers at number 6, right? So it's not like I'm looking at a crazy discrepancy between these two teams, but like I said, with just Dane Dunning on the mound, I know Schuster hasn't been great. At a pick'em price, basically, I got to go with the Braves. So just looking at some numbers here, I think it's a little bit, I'm not going to say skewed, but the Braves, they're absolutely mashing left-handers, but they got a righty tonight. 17th in WRC plus against righties, 10th in isolated power, 9th in hard hit percentage, and 14th in weighted on base average. So it's not like they're not hitting righties well, just not as great as we know the Atlanta Braves can do. But on the flip side, I think this is really a fade of Jared Schuster, which I understand because looking at his first 2 starts in the majors, he allowed 4 runs in both of those starts, 10-plus base runners in both of those starts, and that was in the beginning of April. They sent him back down. He's thrown 5 minor league starts since then, and 3 of those 5 have been good. But I just think that Schuster's still being a little bit underrated, believe it or not, and that the Rangers' offense is being a little bit overrated. And I say that because, for starters, Schuster is the Braves' #1 prospect. It's not like he is just some guy like the Rangers did last night, brought up some kicks and needed some big innings. Obviously, the Braves got to him and, demolished them last night. This is a kid who has pedigree in the Braves, as we know, with all those young arms they've developed over the years. They're a pitching factory, so it's not a stretch to believe Schuster, got some of those woes out of the way and could be back and become a good pitcher. And the Rangers, they're coming off, they had a 2 series ago against the Angels where that was just a high-scoring series, a low-scoring pitchers duel series against the Mariners, and then they just played the Oakland Athletics, which was just fireworks. I think that those fireworks kind of just overinflated some of their offensive numbers because they're certainly great now, always been at home, and also now against left-handed pitching. But I think that those numbers are overinflated. Also considering Schuster in those 2 starts, he allowed 10-plus base runners, 5 and 4 walks respectively, but only 4 runs in both of those starts. So that damage mitigation comes huge. I like the Braves bullpen better than I like the Rangers bullpen. Like I said, we're taking 500, 600-plus bets over the course of an entire MLB season. If this is one where, it might be the square side, you're just thinking, oh, it's the Braves that pick them, you got to just ride them. I'll go down with that ship any day of the week. Give me the Braves at a PK today.
Eric Pauly, great breakdown there, goldsheet.com. Guys, fire out any questions here in the live chat. Also, feel free to fire away any questions in the reply section below, guys. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel, WagerTalk YouTube here. We're going live 2 o'clock Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, Fridays. The Wednesday and Thursday shows we're recording going a little bit earlier with the big day slate. But guys, we do have some questions here. And Eric, I guess one for you. Betting guys coming up. You explained a little bit their top prospect coming back in, which I do agree with you. He had that rough road in MLB, went back down to AAA. Gwinnett, I believe, has pitched well and now making the step back up. Is there anything you look for in particular with guys making the step up from the minors to the major leagues? Just quickly, any I guess statistics you look for, or anything that they're doing that makes them a bet on or a fade candidate for you?
So something that not really statistics, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but staying up to date with beat writers that work within these organizations, I think is a lot more valuable than looking at statistics. Of course, you have a guy who's throwing, a 6-7 FIP in AAA. You're still going to be a little bit bearish on them when they make their start to their first MLB start. But just a great example is Yuri Perez for the Miami Marlins on Friday. I had him 7+ strikeouts, a +420 ticket. That was beautiful to cash. Like, coming from AA, a lot of people could have saw that as a little bit of a deterrent, but also obviously a sign that he is expected to be a great player because they have the faith in him to call him up. But if you've kind of been in tune with the Marlins organization, their beat writers and people who cover the team, you would know that Perez was touted as their best pitching prospect since Jose Fernandez. So I think a lot of it is keeping your ear to the ground. And just in baseball in general, something everybody should, obviously it depends how you want to handicap your sports, but the more and more you start to learn about minor league players and minor league teams and even the college ranks, the more ahead of the 8 ball you are in future seasons, because when somebody's coming up to play, whether or not you think they're a good player or not, and if their first strikeout prop or outs recorded prop is mispriced, and you can get a really great positive expected value bet just from kind of doing your own research. So I think staying with your ear to the ground and listening to the people who are in that building and understanding their points of view, and then obviously watching some tape and seeing them pitch is some of the best things you can do for evaluating these young pitchers or hitters also coming up into the major league ranks.
I like it, Eric. I haven't really thought of it that way in baseball. That's a big I know Teddy knows this, like college football, college basketball. Nobody knows the teams better than the beat writers. So to get their feel on it, but it makes sense with these pitchers making the jump up from the minors to the majors. Love it. And speaking of Teddy, we had questions yesterday on the A's and their move to Las Vegas. First off, as a fan, I would love to give your thoughts on if you think it will be a good business kind of venture here with the A's going to Las Vegas, if it's even for sure. And also, do you think there's something here as sports bettors where we can look to go against the Oakland A's? 9 wins on the season. We're already, more than 25% of the way through, fading them in the Coliseum just because of I don't know, kind of like the dead team here in Oakland. Anything to that in your opinion, Teddy?
So there's a couple things that I'm going to talk about right here. But first, I do want to answer. I want to give my take on the last question about AAA stats. And my strong advice is tap the brakes on AAA stats. Remember that the ballparks themselves, the leagues themselves, have their own unique feels. The West Coast ball is much higher scoring than East Coast ball. You see a guy with an ERA of 6 at Round Rock. It's different than if you see a guy at an ERA somewhere else. So I would really tap the brakes on the stats. The one stat that does tend to translate is strikeout to walk ratio. When it comes to the Oakland A's, how do I phrase this politely about what's going on in Vegas? It's a cluster. Bleep. Okay? They've already pulled out of one site, moved into another site. The other site is not. They're trying to get a lot of funding from the state of Nevada. They were asking for $500 million. Now they're only asking for $385 million at the new site. And of course, they're trying to squeeze it in right before the state legislature adjourns for the summer. So there's a limited window for this to get through, and they're trying to ram it through this limited window. I don't know if it's going to succeed. I'm not convinced it's going to work for the Oakland A's. When it comes to this year's Oakland A's team, this is the worst team that I've ever seen in baseball. Okay, it is the one in big league baseball. All right, I've been in this game 25 years. I've been a baseball fan my whole life. This is a bottom tier baseball team, and I know that Adam Trigger's going to argue with me on this and talk about their lineup and they can hit the ball. I look at Oakland as a team that's primed to challenge the New York Mets and the Detroit Tigers for the worst record ever in Major League Baseball. The betting markets have started to get there. But you talk about a team with no home field advantage. What did they draw? 2,000 last night? 2,000 fans. And that's the official. There's no home field advantage for Oakland. And the markets have caught up with that. There was no home field advantage for this team last year. It's only getting worse.
I'm getting excited just from living in Vegas. Like I think them playing in a AAA park would be fun. They'd have a lot of people there. So I think that.
Last thing, the A's put out this thing how they wanted a 30,000 seat stadium and they're going to draw $2.5 million a year and they're going to draw 450,000 extra visitors to Las Vegas. Which, when you translate it out, it means they're going to sell out every single game, and every road game is going to have 6,000 fans here. I'll take the under on the A's projected numbers.
Teddy covers.
Teddy, do you think they'll be worse than the 2018 Orioles, who were 47 and 115? Do you think they'll be better or worse? 47 and 115. They're
on that trajectory. They're in that range. I do not.
That's
think
actually
Oakland
a good bet.
This year.
That would be a good bet, like for books team. That's like a good prop bet for books to post. 2018 Orioles were 47 and 115. I think that's like the worst record in recent, like the last few years. I might be missing one. Like if you go back to, I think there was a Tigers team that won less than 40 games.
Yeah, the Tigers team I think was 05 or 07.
Something like that. Yeah.
They had to win.
Which
they
is
had to
like
win the last week of the season to avoid being the Mets, having a worse record than the Mets. And they did. Then, they won, I think, 5 out of 6 down the stretch to avoid it.
And then they went to the World Series like 2 years later, something like that. A couple of years later, they were in the World Series. So I'm just curious, like that's like a good prop bet for books to put up, like over 47 and a half, because that's what, the Orioles were in 2018. I bet it's close to. Yeah, that's probably right around there.
That would be a good one, guys. Let us know below in the reply section, guys, on the YouTube channel. You think the A's will get over 47 and a half wins? Is it, Trig? We did have a question for you. First off, guys. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just going to say that was the Orioles record in 2018 was 47 and 115. So like that would be the
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, let us know, guys, but down below in the reply section. A's over or under 47 wins this year. I don't know what I would go with. Off the top of my head, I'd probably lean over. Feel free, guys, in the best bets to throw it out what you guys feel. We got some guys asking about the Cardinals. Love the questions in here, by the way, guys. Hey, they scored 18 runs yesterday. It would be Cardinals or pass. It's just minus 180. I don't know. It didn't make my card, but that's the way I guess I would go with that one. Just ride the kind of hot lineup here, guys. Trig, again, guys, Adam Trigger, $2 handicapper at wagertalk.com. Number one, last 365 days overall. Trig, I guess a question for you. We were talking about a little bit of minor league betting. Single A, you can't bet it, but what triple A, you can bet it for anybody out there interested in the minor league level. Is that how it works?
Yep. So I got my Harrisburg Senators hat on. Grabbed this at the ballpark last Thursday. Dwayne Bryant came out and met me. We had a great time. That's double A, and we couldn't bet that either. So that's pretty much the case. Like triple A is you're good to go. You can bet triple A. At most sites, you're probably not going to be able to get much down on it, but like many sites do offer triple A. Double A, single A, low A, I don't think I've ever seen offered. So maybe there's a book out there that's giving it, putting double A lines up, but it would be a very, very novelty item if you can find it. A lot of places do offer triple A though. Pretty much every offshore global will offer triple A, and I'm sure there's some
FanDuel
like in
does,
Vegas,
yeah.
probably go to like the Westgate or something. They must have it.
Yeah, there is a couple out there. FanDuel as well. I know puts up AAA. I was looking for it at my first ever minor league game. Unfortunately, single A was not available. But guys, time for best bets. The moment you have all been waiting for. Adam Trigger, $2 handicapper, wagertalk.com. Number one last 365. Guys, go check it out. Discounted to just $2. Trig, what do you got for best bets and any final thoughts here for the show?
Yeah, so $2 Tuesday. I have a 5% plays. My first one in a while. I haven't had one since like the end of April, but that one won, and I'm hoping this one does as well. That's up on my page for just $2. I've pretty much giving out everything else for free today. I posted my 4% KBO play for free. You can find that on Twitter at TopFlightSI. And I'm going to give you my other play in Major League Baseball. It's a 4% play for free here as well. I'm on the Tigers. I laid minus 115 earlier. Even where it's currently at, minus 120, minus 125, I still think it's worth a 4% bet. Really, it's more of a fade for the Pirates. Well, it's actually both. It's a fade of the Pirates, who are coming back to earth as I expected them to. And it's a play on the Tigers, who I think, even with their good form of late, they've won 8 of their last 12. I think this team is actually pretty good. And I'll explain why. So the Tigers, what I like about this team, Drew, is they do a lot of little things that don't really show up in the box score, don't really show up in sort of, the typical things you would look at as being an elite type team. And by no means do I think the Tigers are elite, but I love what their bullpen has done. Their bullpen the last month or so has been one of the top units in the league. They also play defense extremely well. This is one of the top defensive teams in baseball. And I think, saving runs in that perspective is just as good as scoring them in a lot of cases. Yet runs saved doesn't always get talked about the way runs scored do. A team that's not scoring at all right now is the Pirates. They've lost 11 of 13. And on this current run, Drew, they're hitting 180 as a team. They're hitting 143 with runners in scoring position, and they've scored 4 runs or fewer in all 13 of those games. This is the type of dip that I thought we would see out of the Pirates after O'Neal Cruz went on the DL. But surprisingly, they were able to sort of remain hot through almost through the end of April. And it's really just kind of fallen off a cliff now. And some of that has to do with the schedule. The Pirates ran into some really tough teams: Rays, Blue Jays, Orioles, starting to play some of the better teams in baseball. But it all comes back to they just don't hit. They're not hitting. And this is the type of thing where, like, are they going to snap out of it at some point and hit and average more than 1.8 runs per game, which has been their average over this 13-game stretch? Yeah, they probably will. But if you look at this lineup, it's starting to perform like this lineup should on paper with no O'Neal Cruz. They're going to run into Michael Lorenzen here. I bet on him last week, took a tough loss in that game, but he was excellent. 7 innings, 1 run. It was just a game where the Tigers had a runner in scoring position for 8 straight innings and couldn't find a way to score. So he's really been great for 2 starts now. So I like him to continue to pitch strong after what was a poor start for him because his stuff looks electric right now. Luis Ortiz is the pitcher for the Pirates. He's a guy they called up from AAA to fill Vince Velasquez's spot. And Drew, we'll go back to the minor league sort of connection here again. Like Teddy was saying, it's tough to know how this is going to how minor league is going to translate to the big leagues. He's pitched okay in the minors so far this year. I like some of the stuff he did in spring. So it's not exactly a guy I want to fade per se, but he got knocked around by the Rockies, and he's still just a guy that's in limbo between AAA and the big leagues. And I'm willing to go against him here and think that the Tigers can do more off of him than this ice-cold Pirates team can do against Lorenzen. So you add all that together, and the Tigers playing well, the Tigers bullpen pitching extremely well. I think the Tigers can get it done at home tonight. So Tigers minus 115 is a 4% play for me. I like them to win this game.
Adam Trigger, $2 Tuesday handicapper. Check it out, WagerTalk.com. I'm going to follow that up, guys, here. Seattle Mariners, Boston Red Sox, yes, for a first run, for a first inning run here. Yes, minus 125. So it's a Yerfie. It's kind of slang for guys, but Teddy was talking about it earlier, like in the Mariners, a little bit correlation here with Nick Pivetta, the starter for the Red Sox. He's given up 10 runs in the first inning. That's only through 7 starts here, guys. So the Mariners might jump on him early. That's 3rd in baseball in terms of first inning ERA. Yes, that is a stat that people keep, and he's really high up there, so kind of jumping on that. Hopefully the Mariners get to him early. If not, the Red Sox in the bottom of the first. We'll take it either way here. Yes, run in the first inning, minus 125 price tag. And the Boston pitchers given up 48 runs in 61 innings, in their last 61 innings. So having a tough time here. So going to go yes, first run inning in the Mariners and the Red Sox for my best bet on today's show. Speaking of Teddy covers, we got best bet here from Teddy. Teddy, great show overall. Any final thoughts here for the show? And what do you got for best bet?
Sure. Well, Adam Trigger was talking about some struggling offenses. I'm going to talk about some struggling offenses as well for my best bet today. You just went as a free play yesterday. Today is a client play. We're going to look at the Padres and the Royals. First 5 innings under 4.5, the prevailing number right here. You want to talk bad offenses? Kansas City ranks number 25 out of 30 MLB teams in runs per game. They're getting 4. The Padres are number 26. Okay. You want to talk about a lineup that isn't hitting right now? They scored 4, 0, 2, 2, 3, 3, 6, 2, and 1 in their last 9 ball games. All right. And remember, let's not forget, we talk about the Padres as 26th in runs scored. Don't forget the 22 runs they scored in 2 games in Mexico City. If you take those 2 games out of the equation, they're Miami offensively with all the money that they paid all of those guys. Ain't none of them hitting. Saw it again last night. Royals can't hit. I'm not worried about the starting pitching matchup here, and I'm going to take the bullpens out of the equation. First 5 under in the lowest scoring ballpark between 2 scuffling offenses, Padres and Royals.
13 straight unders. City by the Bay in the chat box for the Padres. Teddy covers, ladies and gentlemen. WagerTalkSportsMemo.com. We got Eric Pauly here, the gold sheet. Eric, I'm seeing a K-prop for you. Where you're heading, and any final thoughts here for the show?
Yeah, no, final thoughts are, if you have not taken a look at our MLB stat sheet at the gold sheet, head over. $15 a week, just over $2 a day. You get breakdowns, advanced analytics, pitcher batter splits, home and away splits, bullpen usage, all that grunt work that it takes to go and make a Major League Baseball bet that you got to do in terms of looking at the stats and the box scores. You don't have to do it because we do it for you. So $2 a day, goldsheet.com, tons of amazing content coming out there. But yeah, really nice and short and sweet for this best bet of the day. I'm going with the K prop. Justin Steele of the Chicago Cubs. He's had a fantastic season. Really been really one of the best pitchers in not even just the National League, but in the MLB for now. We'll see how long that this lasts because his numbers are, they're like too good for Justin Steele. I mean, really nice. But the one thing that he's not doing is striking out people. And this is a handicap that's going really just a pretty simple, straightforward look. For starters, like I mentioned, Steele, not a strikeout pitcher. He's in the 34th percentile for K rate, 37th for whiff percentage, and 63rd for chase rate, which is pretty good. And while Houston chases a little bit over the league average, which gives me a little bit of pause, they are last in the MLB in K rate against lefties by a wide margin, only striking out about 15% of the time. 23rd in K rate at home. There's only been one left-handed pitcher this season to go over this number against the Houston Astros. That was Max Fried of the Braves, who, when looking at comparing him to Justin Steele, like I said, Steele's in the 34th percentile for K rate, and I'm pretty sure Fried is in the 66th or higher percentile for K rate. So pretty simple. Yes, Steele's been amazing. Striking out's not been his forte. Astros pitchers don't strike out. Going for under 4.5. I can easily see him staying in that number of 4. Give me Justin Steele under 4.5 Ks.
Heard it there from Eric Pauly. Great stuff, man. Huge shout out to everybody joining us live. Over 300 people. If you could do us a favor and smash that like button. We got the gold sheet first pitch up next here, guys. Going to the over of 12.5 in Colorado and Cincinnati. Can see some of the reasons why here. Colorado's Chase Anderson has been with 5 different MLB teams in the last 14 months, including the Reds team he's facing. Cincinnati's Brandon Williamson is making his MLB debut after a 6.62 ERA and a 1.88 whip in AAA this season. So talk about guys making the jump up just to fill some innings. He might be one of them here. Neither starter made it through 5 innings on Monday, forcing both bullpens to shoulder a heavy workload. Look for runs there with the Rockies and the Reds from the Gold Sheet. Check out the Gold Sheet, goldsheet.com. Our trends and angles brought to you by the Gold Sheet. Reminder, guys, $2 Tuesday here, WagerTalk.com. It is Adam Trigger. Great stuff from Trigger. Teddy covers Eric Pauly. I am Drew Martin. And in recap here of the best bets, we got the Mariners and Red Sox. Yerfie, the yes run first inning, -125. We got Adam Trigger on Detroit, -122. Eric Pauly, Justin Steele, under 4.5 strikeouts, -140 price tag. Teddy covers Kansas City, San Diego, first 5 under 4.5, -110. And the Gold Sheet, just heard it there, Cincinnati and Colorado, over 12.5, -110. For Adam Trigger, check him out, $2 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com. Teddy covers Eric Pauly. I am Drew Martin. That does it for the show, guys. Please smash that like button, reply below. We'll talk tomorrow. Cash those tickets.